welcome back to A State of Grace Wellbeing podcast. I'm Grace, and I'm so happy you're here. This is a space where we talk about the messy, beautiful, sometimes confusing journey of being human. We talk about well-being, we talk about mindfulness, we talk about our nervous system, rest, relationships, self-love, aging, finding ourselves again, and all those little moments in life that make us stop and think, is this really how I want to be living? And today I want to talk about something that has been sitting very strongly with me lately. It's something I've been exploring in my own life, and it's also something I'm beginning to bring into my work with women, particularly women in business. And that is aligning your vibration for success. Now, before you think I've gone completely woo-woo on you, well, maybe I have. But stay with me, because I actually think this is something we can all relate to. Let me ask you a question. How are you showing up energetically in your life right now? Not what you are doing, not how many things are on your to-do list, not how productive you are, but how are you feeling as you move through your days? Are you feeling grounded, open, confident, connected, excited? Or perhaps you're feeling tired, overwhelmed, scattered, anxious, disconnected. Maybe you're constantly second-guessing yourself. Maybe you're saying yes when you really want to say no. Maybe you're holding yourself back because you're worried about what other people will think. Or perhaps you're working incredibly hard towards something, but somewhere inside you there is this little voice saying, I'm not ready. I'm not good enough. What am I doing? And what if I fail? And here's the thing. You can have the strategy, you can have the business plan, you can have the goals, you can have the vision board, and you can have even the perfect 5-year plan. But if the energy you're bringing to that vision is rooted in fear, exhaustion, self-doubt, or constant pressure, it becomes very difficult to move forward in a way that feels good for you. And that's where this idea of vibration comes in. Now, when I talk about vibration, I'm not talking about walking around pretending that everything is wonderful all the time. Because let's be honest, that's exhausting. And it's not real. Life is going to bring us difficult days. We're going to feel sad. We're going to feel angry. We're going to feel disappointed. We're going to doubt ourselves. We're going to have days where we don't feel particularly high vibe at all. And that's okay. Aligning your vibration isn't about forcing yourself into positivity. It's about awareness. It's about noticing what is happening within you. It's about asking, what am I carrying? What am I feeling? what am I believing? And is this energy helping me move towards the life I want to create? I think this becomes particularly important as we get older. Because for many of us, we reach a point in our lives where we start questioning the things we've always done. We start asking different questions. Who am I now? What do I actually want? What matters to me? And what am I no longer willing to tolerate? What am I ready to let go of? And perhaps, what if I stopped living according to everyone else's expectations? What if I trusted myself? What if I allowed myself to be seen? What if I actually believed that I was enough? These questions can create a real shift, because success isn't just about achieving something out there. Success is about how it feels in here. I know for me, this has been a journey. I've spent a lot of my life doing what I thought I was supposed to do. Working. Being responsible. Looking after other people. Trying to get everything right. And I think many women can relate to this. We're very good at holding everything together. We're very good at keeping going. And we're very good at saying, I'm fine. Even when we're absolutely not. But eventually our bodies start to speak. Our energy changes. Our nervous system becomes overwhelmed. And sometimes our bodies whisper before they shout. I've talked about this in previous episodes. And tiredness, about mental health, about the importance of rest, about listening to our bodies. And for me, learning to listen has been a huge part of coming home to myself. Because when you slow down enough to listen, you start to notice things. You notice what gives you energy and what drains you. You notice the people you feel safe around and the people who leave you feeling depleted. You notice the environments where you can breathe and the ones where you feel like you're constantly bracing yourself. You notice when something feels right and when something feels, well, just a little off. That, to me, is the beginning of alignment. And this is where I bring in the chakras. Now, if you've been listening to me for a while, you'll know that I love working with the chakra system. The chakras are often described as energy centers within the body. And whether you think of them as energetic centers, symbolic tools for reflection, or simply a beautiful way to understand yourself more deeply, I find they can offer us an incredibly useful framework, because each chakra can give us a different doorway into understanding what's happening in our lives. For example, the root chakra asks, do I feel safe? Do I feel grounded? Do I trust that I belong here? The sacral chakra asks, am I allowing myself to experience pleasure? Am I creative? Am I able to flow with life? The solar plexus asks, do I trust myself? Do I believe in my own power? Am I willing to take up space? The heart asks, am I open to giving and receiving? Can I allow myself to be vulnerable? The throat asks, am I speaking my truth? Am I expressing what I really think and feel? And the third eye asks, am I trusting my intuition? Can I see beyond what is immediately in front of me? And the crown asks, do I feel connected to something greater than myself? Now, imagine bringing these questions into your life or your business, because perhaps you're trying to grow your business and you're afraid to be seen. That's a throat chakra question. Perhaps you're constantly comparing yourself to other people. That's a solar plexus question. Perhaps you have a wonderful idea, but you keep putting it off because you're afraid it won't work. That's a root and solar plexus conversation. Perhaps you're successful on paper, but you're exhausted. That's a question about the way you're defining success in the first place. And this is why I love the idea of aligning your vibration for success. Because success isn't simply about doing more. Sometimes it's about becoming more available to what you actually want, available to opportunities, available to connection, available to creativity, available to receiving, available to being seen, available to trusting yourself. And sometimes the biggest thing standing between us and the next version of our lives isn't a lack of ability. It's the energy we're carrying. So, I'd love to invite you to try something with me. Wherever you are, just take a moment. If it's safe to do so, close your eyes. Take a slow breath in and let it go, and simply notice. How does my energy feel today? Don't judge it. Don't try to change it. Just notice. Now, ask yourself, where am I feeling most energized in my life right now? Maybe it's your work. Maybe it's your relationships. Maybe it's your creativity. Maybe it's your health. Maybe it's something as simple as walking outside in the morning. And now ask, where am I feeling depleted? Where am I giving more than I'm receiving? Where am I saying yes when I mean no? Where am I carrying something that no longer belongs to me? And then ask yourself one final question. What is one small shift I could make today to bring myself back into alignment? Maybe it's having a conversation you've been avoiding. Maybe it's resting. Maybe it's asking for help. Maybe it's putting boundaries in place. Maybe it's taking one small step forward towards the dream that you've been dreaming. Or maybe it's doing absolutely nothing. Sometimes alignment looks like action, and sometimes alignment looks like stopping. I think one of the biggest lessons I've learned is that we don't need to become a different person to create a successful life. We don't need to be louder. We don't need to be younger. We don't need to have all those answers. We don't need to hustle ourselves into exhaustion. We don't need to compare our chapter 10 with someone else's chapter 25. We simply need to come back to ourselves, to listen, to notice, to trust, and to ask, is the way I'm living aligned with the woman I'm becoming? Because perhaps success isn't something we chase. Perhaps it's something we create from the inside out. And maybe, just maybe, the most powerful thing you can do for your business, your relationships, your well-being, and your life is to become deeply connected to your own energy. To know when you're grounded. To recognize when you're out of alignment. To notice where your energy is flowing. And to gently bring yourself home. And that's really what this next chapter of my work is beginning to explore. I'm becoming increasingly passionate about helping women understand their own energy, particularly women who are building businesses, leading teams, creating something new, or simply stepping into a new season of life. Because I don't believe we should have to leave ourselves behind in order to succeed. I believe we can create success that feels good in our bodies. Success that feels aligned with our values. Success that gives us energy rather than constantly taking it away. And perhaps the question isn't, how can I work harder to achieve what I want? Perhaps the question is, who do I need to become energetically to receive and hold the success I'm calling in? That's a very different question. So, as you move through your week, I invite you to notice your vibration. Notice how you feel when you walk into a room. Notice how you feel after speaking to certain people. Notice what happens in your body when you think about your dreams. Notice where you feel expanded. And notice where you feel contracted. You don't need to have to fix it all. You don't have to change everything. Just notice. Because awareness is where alignment begins. And alignment is where we begin to create from a very, very different place. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of A State of Grace Wellbeing podcast. If something in today's conversation resonated with you, I'd love for you to take a moment and reflect on this question. What would change in my life if I trusted my own energy? and perhaps sit with that for a while. You might be surprised by what comes up. Until next time, take care of yourself. Listen to your body. Protect your energy. And remember, you don't have to become someone else to be successful. You may simply need to come home to who you are already. I'm Grace, and I'll see you next time.